and welcome. Here is another video about SMMware, software for handling sales, project management, operations, and more for small to medium-sized businesses. Today we'll discuss scheduling in SMMware. Okay, let's begin. We'll start here on the home page. Moving down to the bottom, we see the section called My Schedule, which contains events where you are a direct part of it either as an attendee or as the main contact, but it does not show every event across the entire company. Moving back up to the main menu, we see that there is a calendar link, which takes us to the master calendar, and this one does indeed have every event across the entire company. Down at the bottom of the page, we can see a filtering section. One of the items here is called Include Availability, which we'll go into detail more about later. We also have a set of tags that help you use color to know something about an event when you look at the calendar. The simplest approach to using these tags would be to divide your events between ones that are part of a job and ones which are for sales. Another approach we have seen when people have events where the work is entirely the same across the entire event is using tags describing the kind of work, in this case packing or unpacking. The third approach we have seen is to use the name of the team lead as the tag, so that when you look at the calendar you can tell who's leading up the event. In this case we're using Judy, Carmen, and Margot. Go ahead and open up one of the events. We can see that there is a link here for a mapping function. This opens up your mapping function either on your desktop or on a phone's screen. And we're essentially handing you off to that mapping function so that you can get turn-by-turn GPS directions from it. Let's go ahead and add a new event to the calendar. Here we're going to select the same type of tag that we saw in the master calendar, in this case a job, and then we will attach it to one of those jobs. And we'll be adding the address. Once this is saved and we're looking at the main calendar, this will be turned into the mapping link. You can also set who the main contact is. The notifications that employees get at the bottom will have the signature saying if you have questions, here's who to talk to, and it will include their phone number and their email address. We can set a couple of reminders. We can set a custom color for this event. And we can skip notifications if need be. And we can mark an event as tentative, which will result in a red outline. The final section that we want to talk about is Attendee Management. SMMware comes with 3 different approaches for managing your attendees, and each one has its own way of thinking about things. We'll start by looking at the direct approach. Here the thinking is that you've already had a discussion offline and you know who's going to work on the event. You simply need to formalize it and enter it into the system. So we'll go ahead and mark the people who are working on this event, and when we hit save, they will get notification and they are simply assigned. So this is not about SMMware helping you figure out who's going to do the work. The next approach we have is invites. And in this case, we're setting a respond by date so that employees know when they have to say something by. We're also setting a team size. Unlike a social event where you might invite 10 people and if only 8 show up, that's fine. Since this is a business event, when we say that we want 3 people, we probably do want exactly 3 people. Whoever we mark down in the list below is going to get an invite, and they can either click on the reply of requesting the event or on declining the event. There are several different approaches that can be used here. You can invite a whole bunch of people, a lot more than you need. You can see who is requesting the event. So let's say that 6 people are interested in the event and you need 3, so then you can do a final assignment. Another approach is first come, first serve, so you might invite everybody. And after the first 3 have said they are interested, anyone else will get a message saying, I'm sorry, the team is full. Another approach is the multiple rounds of invitations. So we'll mark the 3 people that we would really like to do this event, but then if one of them cannot make it, we'll come back here and add a 4th person, and they'll get their invitation. The first 3 will not have any repeats of their invitations. And you can keep going through as many rounds as it takes in order to fill all the slots for your event. I'm going to go ahead and pop open the home page. Scroll down to the bottom. There's a section called My Invites. And here you will see any open invites that you can then request attendance at the event, or you can decline. Coming back here to the event we're working on, I'll switch it over to the availability-based approach. The first two approaches can be thought of as being client-driven because you talk to them first, you set a date, and then it's up to you to fill in the slots with the employees who are going to do the work. This approach, the availability approach, is more employee-driven. When we come to the Associates menu and My Unavailability, we can create entries by clicking and dragging to create an entry. If needs be, if we had the wrong day, we can just move it over to another one. And we can also stretch it shorter or longer. And if we don't need it after all, we can just click on it to make it go away. If we're going to be gone for the entire week, we can start in the upper left-hand corner and simply drag across the entire week. And SMMware will create all the different entries rather than you having to create them one by one. Now I'm going to go back to our event in progress. We're looking at a list of the employees on the left-hand side, and we have a green bar marking whether they are available. In this case, everyone's showing as available for that date. Go ahead and pick some people. The availability-based approach is our most flexible one because you can have people coming or going at different times, whereas the first two approaches do include an assumption that everyone is arriving and leaving at the same time. Go ahead and save this. After you initially create the event, things may change, and SMMware can help you with that as well. Let's say that Margot calls in that she can't attend the event or any other event. We'll click on this once and release her from the event. On the other hand, if the client calls you and says that something has happened, you can't do as much work as you originally thought, so now you don't need as many people, we're going to say that, okay, we're going to remove Karen from this event. But it is possible that she could work on another event. So we're going to click on this released marker and roll her availability back to restore it. Now when we hit save, we will see that Margot does indeed have a gap missing and Karen has had her availability restored. Now we're going to look at the associate profiles and some of the settings there that involve scheduling. First, we have the invitable scheduling. So if you have someone who works the front office and never goes out on jobs, you may not want to see them showing up in the list of people who can be brought into an event. So you can just change that to a no. Down in the permissions section, we have the scheduling role, which has options of none, read, or read-write. And we have the contact via dropdown, which is regarding whether you want to contact them via email or text. In order to indicate that this is a cell phone as opposed to a landline, we do ask that you put in either cell or mobile for the description field. If you mouse over the question mark, you'll get a pop-up that explains exactly what you need to put in here and why. Next, we're going to go to the settings editor to look at this configuration of the calendar. Start off in the basic settings area, and here's where you can indicate that the calendar link should appear under the main menu or under the admin menu. Next, we're going to edit section 4 for the calendar. We can see that there's a variety of settings here, such as the default attendee management. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory. Here's one we might touch on. For the availability summaries, there's a minimum block of time, so if somebody has 15 minutes of time, that's of no real use to you. And you can set exactly how much time you think people need to have before you want to see it in the availability summaries. But I particularly like to touch on the event tags, which we saw at the bottom of the calendar. Here's where the labels are set. You can indicate that we want to show or hide a given label. You can map it to jobs, to sales leads. Those are the most common settings. You can also link it to clients, associates, and company. You can set the color of the foreground text or the background color as well. If you're integrating with Google Calendar, you would enter the credentials here as part of the integration. That concludes our introduction to scheduling in SMMware. To find out more, you can visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/SMMware for more videos about specific features of SMMware. You can visit our website at www.smware.com, or you can call us at 240-285-4619 with questions or to arrange a demo. We appreciate your time and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.